agents have a duty to their clients to make sure that the clients are well aware of anything that's going to impact the property that they're purchasing.
The value of real estate disclosure to the buyer is that they understand what they're getting into, and that makes it less likely in the future that they're going to be upset with either the military, with their agent, or with the local government.
It is very important for the AICUZ program to allow for disclosure from the military to the civilian community what the actions and the impact that military installation intends.
We've all seen the sign outside of military bases. If you lived here, you'd be home by now. Military bases attract development. People who work on the base want to live nearby. Others want to provide services to the base and its employees. But as development creeps ever closer to these defense installations, what should the real estate professional disclose to prospective buyers about the military base next door? The U.S. military plays a significant role in defending the United States and its interests around the globe. The military's success in these endeavors has been achieved because it holds a distinct advantage in advanced technologies that allows its military to function more efficiently and effectively. As important as these technologies are to mission success, it is the commitment of the men and women in uniform and the training they receive at home that gives them the proficiency they need when called to action. Success relies on training that is realistic, including the use of full weaponry, live ordnance, and training at night. In the performance of this training, nearby residents may be impacted. Of concern to potential home buyers may be noise from weapons testing, aircraft, tactical vehicle operations, and industrial activities, as well as potential safety concerns. In 1973, in order to specifically assess development in noise and safety zones relating to air operations, the Department of Defense created the Air Installations Compatible Use Zones Program, or AICUZ. The goal of the AICUZ program is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of those living and working on or near military installations, while ensuring the continued flight operations.
The training mission I'm involved in at the United States Naval Test Pilot School here at NAS Patuxent River involves test and evaluation of aircraft and systems for use by our military, and that will require very specific flight paths, very specific altitudes, airspeeds, and procedures. Effective AICUZ planning is important, so I'm aware of the locations of schools, churches, communities. Try to avoid those areas because I want to minimize the impact that I have on the ground.
The initial step in the AICUZ process is preparation of a study to define noise contours. Noise contours are developed by a computerized analysis of aircraft activity at the installation and reflect site-specific aircraft operational data. For land use planning purposes, the noise exposure area is divided into 3 noise zones. Noise Zone 3 is an area of high noise exposure, where the greatest degree of land use control is recommended. Noise Zone 2 is an area of moderate noise exposure, where some land use control is recommended. Noise Zone 1 is an area of low noise impact, where most land uses are compatible. Land use recommendations are applied to keep noise-sensitive uses such as residences, auditoriums, and schools outside of high and moderate noise zones.
We do our best to be a good neighbor to coordinate our training to avoid noise-sensitive areas, but occasionally our training does impact the community, but it's important that our crews receive the training they need before they deploy to a combat environment.
I think what sometimes people fail to recognize is that we don't make a lot of noise to make people angry. It's part of our doing business, and you try to minimize the impact of those around you, whether it's the amount of noise you make, the time of day that you make it. But the reality is that aircraft make noise. We just try to do our best to least impact the communities around us.
While noise concerns are considered a high priority, the safety of the surrounding community is one of the primary purposes for the AICUZ program. The Department of Defense uses accident potential zones, or APZs, to show areas where an accident is most likely to occur if one occurs. APZs are located below aircraft flight tracks near the ends of runways. There are 3 accident potential zones: the clear zone, APZ-1, and APZ-2. Clear zones are the area with the greatest potential for occurrence of aircraft accidents and should remain undeveloped. While the possibilities of an aircraft mishap are remote, the AICUZ program recommends that land uses that promote high concentrations of people be avoided in the accident potential zones.
The Air Force is very focused on safety. We do everything possible to prevent accidents. However, occasionally things do happen. In April of this year, we had a C-5 that landed short of our runway. Thankfully, to the strong AICUZ planning, we had previously purchased the land off the end of our runway. In this case, it saved lives. Additionally, there was no significant damage to the property as a result of that accident.
Noise contours and accident potential zones, along with land use recommendations, are incorporated into the AICUZ studies for all Navy, Marine Corps, and Air Force air installations. Real estate disclosure is a major step in AICUZ implementation. Real estate professionals have a role in disclosure of the operational impacts near military installations to prospective home buyers, allowing the public to make an informed decision about potential purchases.
It helps us to keep the buyers informed of anything that may be affecting their decision to purchase the property. And we feel that an informed buyer is an empowered buyer because it helps them to make a decision on whether the property is right for them or not.
Disclosure is most effective when it takes place early in the home purchasing process.
In my experience, what I've found oftentimes is that even if a home is in a high noise zone, often doesn't affect the buyer's decision to buy. That's usually not the one single decision. When the AICUZ disclosure is done early and handled properly, most buyers just factor that in and they can live with it.
What are the responsibilities of the real estate professionals toward disclosure?
The real estate professional has the obligation to make sure that the buyer is aware of the impact of the military air installation on the house that they may be looking at. Whether it's in a noise zone, whether it's in an accident potential zone, obviously they want to do that as early as possible in the process. They want happy clients.
In October 2006, disclosure of military impacts was codified into law by the state of Maryland. This law requires that residential sales contracts contain language advising potential buyers that a property nearby a military installation may be affected by noise. Other states have similar disclosure laws, including California, Arizona, and Virginia. Real estate professionals should carefully examine state laws and local ordinances to ensure they are in compliance. So, how does the real estate professional identify these impacts? For real estate professionals working near military airfields, current AICUZ maps can be obtained from local governments and air installations.
Buyers want to know, if I'm going to buy this house, what's going to affect the value, whether it be some landfill next door or jet noise that possibly could impact their enjoyment of the house. Disclosing the AICUZ noise levels to them is very important. We don't often explain it sometimes very coherently in terms of just giving a number, 65 decibels, 75 decibels, but when we use the AICUZ map to explain to them where their house is in relationship to the runways, it's important to them, and they can really understand it better with a diagram such as a map as to where their house is in relation to those noises that are going to be generated.
While the AICUZ program only applies to military airfields, other land use compatibility programs may be applicable. These programs include the Range Air Installations Compatible Use Zones Program, or RAICUZ, for Navy and Marine Corps bombing and artillery ranges, the Installation Operational Noise Management Plan for Army facilities and ranges, and the Department of Defense's Joint Land Use Study Program, or JLUS, for many installations from all services. These programs provide information, recommendations, and assistance to communities as they develop and implement land use controls. They also provide information on mission impacts that will assist real estate professionals with disclosure. A good place to start when gathering information about these programs is with your local military installations public affairs office. The role played by the Department of Defense in defending the United States and its interests necessitates continued training by our military. To this end, it is essential that there are installations and ranges for our military to test new technologies and to hone their training so they're ready when the call goes out.
There's nothing like getting that operational, hands-on, practical ability that our pilots and aviators need. And that's what AICUZ allows us to do. It allows us to give our pilots and aviators a chance to do the things they need to do before they do it in harm's way.
The AICUZ program provides the tools necessary to promote compatible development and activities near military air installations. Real estate disclosure is a major step in properly informing and educating people and businesses moving to the area of the potential noise and safety issues they may encounter.
The value of real estate disclosure to the buyer is that they understand what they're getting into, and that makes it less likely in the future that they're going to be upset with either the military, with their agent, or with the local government.
One of the key components as far as success of an AICUZ program is the fact that it's open. You know, we're very honest about what we're doing. It's a forum that I think has a great deal of credibility because of that. So real estate disclosure, in my mind, fits that perfectly. You know, I think most people are very supportive if they know, if they've been told. And as long as we let our folks know here in the community that this is the potential. You know, when you purchase a piece of property or a home in this particular area, this is the potential that, of what you're going to experience. And the real estate disclosure, I think, is a key part of that, and it will only add credence and credibility to our AICUZ program.
By working together, the military and the community will help to preserve the defense mission while improving the quality of life for those who live outside the fence. This will minimize future conflicts and develop a more cooperative environment in which to train, work, and live.